Yeah, we did. We're live now, so we shouldn't be talking about that show. We should be talking about this show. Welcome everybody to Earth 2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and supernatural comic book talk stuff is the norm. It's your boy Mo Crosby. I am back with the one and only Kyle XY, superhero dad god with the dad bod, dadgoon.com, goonish shit. I don't know. I forgot it. It was such a long time ago. No, welcome back, Kyle. It's good to have you back here again for what are we discussing today? The finale of HBO's. You say Love Trash Country?
It felt like it.
I know. I thought that's what you said. My bad. We're here to discuss. As you can see, this ticket says Lovecraft Country Season 1, Episode 10, the finale, full circle. We didn't do an Episode 9 because YouTube put us on a timeout. But we're here today to give you Episode 10 of it. And we might talk about Episode 9 a little bit just to see how it connects, which I thought Episode 9 wasn't good. It was just like over-formulated drama. Like, it was just like, let's add drama here. It's unnecessary, but let's put it in here so it makes shit look good. We want you to see fires and explosions, so we're going to do a slow-motion walk that we don't really need to do and waste your time. I'm talking about the end, obviously, because that shit, I was out at that point.
So, I text you, right?
Yeah.
That we talked. I don't remember, but
one of the two, because it always happens.
9. It was like that was the most plagiarized scene ever. Like that
it was like it took. I'm like, I get what you're trying to do. I get you're trying to show Letty as a super strong and vulnerable. Like, you know, she's now the matriarch.
Done that trope scene with a woman. Like literally, it's always a woman. Like going all the way back to like Transformers 2. I think it was Transformers 2. They did that thing. The Thrones did that thing. Who else? Game of Thrones. X-Men did that thing twice.
Right.
Like in 2 different movies, X-Men did it. It's others. It's other movies. I'm just drawing a blank right now. But
it pissed me off because I understand. Like, you know, when you know they're doing something so on purpose, just so you can see it. And yeah. But the other thing that pissed me off about like Episode 9 was I understood. Okay, so I think they used Episode 9 to show some of what's Montrose's drama, right? Inner conflict and all the stuff that he's had to deal with, and he's had to put away, and he's had to put on the side. I get it, but you didn't do a good job the entire season of showing us that. For everyone in the entire season, all you did was show us that Montrose was a abusive father with abusive, you know, like he's an abusive father, and he just did it because he's a gay man and he's a gay black man in America, and at the time it was the taboo, and that's what you did to show us Montrose's life.
Right.
Nothing, no setup or anything, but I get it, and I guess, you know, at that point you want us to now see that okay, Montrose is an abusive man for no reason, well, because the reasons that you gave us before were he's a black man and a gay black man in America, so that's his motivations for why he was doing what he was doing. Oh no, it's because his father was abusive with him, and so he turned around and gave that exact thing to his son. I think that's what you tried to show us, right? That's what Episode 9 did, and in some parts it felt like they were just trying to force it into it, and in some parts it felt like they didn't even care. And I was like, you know what? At this point, I don't either. I don't know what you're trying to do anymore, and I don't. How'd you feel about that?
I thought that they did a decent job character developing. They just waited too late to do it.
That's what I'm saying. You never showed it to us before, so at that point, it's really hard for you to ask me to care about something that you've never given me.
Yeah, and like at any given time when they weren't doing the sex scenes, they could have did that character development.
Right.
You wasted a whole, and this is my beef with Episode 9. You've already established that Christina's supposed to be the big bad of this season.
Right. You
didn't take any time to build her up to why she's the big bad. Like, you didn't make me feel like, oh, wow, the world's in danger. Oh, wow, Tick's in danger. Oh, wow, Letty's in danger. Like, she has the Martha Kane, so I don't feel like she's in danger right now. In that episode, I didn't feel like I don't care about Tick. Like, you didn't make me invest in Tick as a character or a person, like at all. Right. You successfully failed at developing him for 10 episodes. But we're talking about Episode 9. You failed at developing him for 9 episodes, so I didn't care whether he lived or died.
Right. So speaking on Tick, I feel like, is there anything else you want to say about episode 9 before we jump into 10?
They did a great job developing Montrose. That's what I'll say. And
yes, Montrose gets. I agree with you, and maybe it's because they want Montrose to be the leader of the show moving forward.
If the only way the show would bring me back next season is if Montrose is the main character, and build alongside Lex, and they spend a lot of time like really writing and investing in those two. If that's not where it's going, I care less.
Right. All right. So great segue into episode 10, where everything finally happens, or we finally have finality to this whole ride that we've had for 9 episodes now. So this is the end. They find the book.
Mm-hmm.
They use the book to save D.
Mm-hmm.
Inside of that, using the book to save D, they talk to the great grandmother, the matriarch, the family matriarch, right? Mm-hmm. Then they talk to the great grandmother, and then Tick sees his mother. They have a conversation, and she's like, "Okay, you know what you have to do." So apparently, in all of it, the blood, it's Tick's blood. Huh?
The answers in your blood. I thought it was pretty good that they were able to speak to the ancestors in their dream.
Right.
Like,
I did like that it was Tick and Letty, because they both had the dream. So I guess they used that to bring us back full circle. I like that. To that, title of the episode, Full Circle. So I like that they didn't just leave that Letty had, because again, the show, the fact that I'm saying I liked it is because the show has a tendency of doing something and just leaving it alone.
So here's the thing. I don't want to hate this show. So for people who think, the troll call folks.
Oh yeah, we forgot that. And it's not a troll call this time. It's for a person who's watched the reviews and has, understood, or at least try to understand where we're coming from. I'm pretty sure they don't 100% agree with us, but they understand where we're coming from. Nicole Martin, thank you very much. Huh? Yeah, thank you very much for your comments. I really do appreciate your comments, because again, you don't 100% have to take everything we're saying as gospel or agree with us, but you've understood and tried to see where we're coming from with it. And I think one more thing to add to that before we get back into the episode is, I think what makes reviewing a show like Lovecraft Country really hard for Black people is it's a Black show, and we are Black, right? And there's a lot of Black people that see this show and it's like, oh my God, it's the best thing because HBO put money behind it and the budget looks good, and they blew their whole budget episode 1 to 9 because the CG in this episode
horrendous
is kind of bad. But HBO put money behind it. It's Black created, Black owned. To some extent, it's Black created, Black owned because the guy you don't like is an executive producer, and I think it's what really makes it.
I don't like him. I never.
You don't like J.J. Abrams. Relax. Yeah, I'm talking about J.J. Abrams.
I'm talking about Pill.
No. That's why I said it's Black created, Black owned to an extent, because you have J.J. Abrams is still a part of the show as possible. And so what I was saying is it's hard reviewing a show like this, because again, you have to find a balance of, it's a Black show. Do I just love it because it's Black, or am I asking for the Black creatives to give me more and not just throw in? Because again, I saw a tweet that said, or a review that said, this is a show with science fiction, horror, thriller, murder, and the best part of it is police brutality and police racism. And while that is a kind of a decent thing to say, it's not a great thing, because the show has all these other elements that we're saying we're not pleased with, because you've decided this is the one element that you're gonna really work on.
Right. You have shows that have murder porn, torture porn, whatever have you. This is for 6 or 7 of the episodes of the show. They've made racial porn. Like that's what it was. It's like, doesn't this make you get a reaction? Do you not react to it? It's like,
right.
Me. That's not like you reminding me that I live in a racist society.
It's exactly.
That's not entertaining. That's horrible.
It's not. And so that is the balance, and that's why it's hard, and that's why I want to really shout out Nicole that watches the reviews and and comments on them because it makes me feel good that I'm not being judged because I'm black and not liking a black thing.
That could be better. Like it's not that.
Yes. It's not that. You're right. It's exhausting to watch because I know there's so much potential in the show, so much, and you have pretty good actors. And again, because for one of the reasons I've said the acting in the show is stand out, and a lot of people, especially Michael K. Williams as Montrose, is doing so. I feel like he's elevating his material so much.
There's a scene towards the end of this episode where Michael K. Williams sold that scene single-handedly.
Right.
Sold that scene. And we'll get to that later. But that scene, he sold single-handedly.
All right. So now let's get back into the review. And so, Dee's saved. And inside of that, they find, the ancestors have this plan. It's like, okay, so this is what we have to do. And and I'm like, when we get to what the plan is, or we get to the finality of it, and it's like, oh, this is the plan. Okay, great. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is what you did. I mean, it's cool. It's cool fiction, sci-fi. It's cool. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is great when I found out what the plan was. How did you feel about that? Don't say what it was, but when you found out what it was, how did you feel about it?
So,
like, really?
It was so all over the place. When it finally came out what it was, like,
right. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I guess.
Like,
see you next year or see you in 2 years when you come back.
Yeah, you should.
I want to see
the little bits and pieces that they did or whatever. I feel like they could have really took time in another episode to do that.
Right. But so, Dee's saved now. Well, she's saved. She only has the one arm because the other arm is dead. Her mom is back home, and they have this conversation where it's like, I left you, but I left you to go get better for myself, and I named myself Mother. I know I was always going to come back. Even when I felt like her mom came back, it felt just in time. Like everything that's happened in the show is just in time, just in the nick of time. Mm-hmm. Just like it feels so like, oh, we're gonna push it all the way to the end and then just bring it right back just in time. And then it's like gonna go all the way left, and it's right back in time, just in time. And we've seen that happen so much. Oh, personally, I've seen that happen so much that I don't like just in time things. It feels very superhero. It feels very Marvel. Like it's like Endgame. We knew at the end of the day that we're gonna save, the world, and it's like, okay, I'm watching it at this point. Let me watch it for the entertainment, but I'm not getting that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch Lovecraft Country for entertainment. I want to watch it last episode. There was a lot of I actually did what you do, pause and look something up and then start. Like, hey, let me get through this thing real quick. This is usually what I've done for it, but last episode kind of felt a lot better. I liked seeing Tulsa before what happened. Mm-hmm. Because in Watchmen, I don't think we got a thriving Tulsa before what happened. Yeah, and this one happened. They happened to give us, like, even though it was the day of, at least it was, I was like, oh, look at all these black men in their suits. Look at it, I like
it. Hell, if you're listening, which I know you're not, do a show that just shows us in Tulsa. Like just shows us like way before, like a year before Black Wall Street. Like just
right.
Like don't give us racism porn. Like just
it'd be nice. It'd be because I did when they went there last episode. I was like, oh my God, this is a thriving Tulsa, and I liked seeing it. It's painful to know that happened. I didn't live through it. I'm pretty sure there's people that probably did. I don't know how old someone who lived through that would be now. I'm not doing the math, but I'm pretty sure it's painful. It's just like I feel like the reason why, maybe why I think they do it, because they're still doing Holocaust porn.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. They're like, oh, if the Jews like it, if the Jews are okay with seeing it, maybe the black people would like seeing it too. The difference is this is not Jewland. The Jews don't live here. Majority of the Jews don't live here. All black people who have lived through all that shit still live in this country.
And it's generational.
Yes.
Of racism. Like to the point where when I watch something like the debate, it's just like I'm like, even this is racist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and I think it's so hard because inside of that, like Jews are thriving now. They have thriving communities, and They're allowed to live past that. We're not, because we're still going through it today.
And we're told to get over something that we can't even get past.
You're not letting us move past it, but then you're telling us to get over it. And so you keep giving it to us, keep throwing it in. It gets kind of annoying and it gets kind of bogged down, which is what this series did a lot of.
This too. I blame not just the white or the Jewish people in Hollywood. I blame the Tyler Perry, Jordan Peele, and so on and so forth.
You know what? I'm gonna take the blame away from Tyler Perry because Tyler Perry has done what he's done outside of this.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Africa is the biggest continent on this planet,
right?
Bar none. Africa is also the oldest civilized continent on this planet, bar none. But we get nothing about our people until it comes to slavery. We don't get anything about we never had a war. You know what I mean? Like we didn't invent nothing. Like we did nothing about our people. Like this is who we were before slavery ever.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like until
you know what, I'll kind of agree with you on that because to a certain extent, and not to a certain extent. I'll give you one example of why I 100% agree with you. The other day or a while ago when Beyonce released her visual album for Lion King, right? Mm-hmm. And she dressed up in styles of like what old African deities would wear, Nigerian deities and stuff like that. And I saw people on the internet, black people saying, "Oh my God, you don't know what you're dealing with," especially like Beyonce's wearing these Orisha outfits and they're evil. And I'm sitting here wondering to myself, right? We watched Marvel's Avengers with Odin and Thor, and we watch Norse gods, and every other day there's Percy Jackson, and those things are lorded on. Like people watch that shit and appreciate it. Mm-hmm. But here you are saying because Beyonce did it, it's evil, because it's black or it's related to Africans, it's evil. Why is Haitian voodoo so evil? Because once it may have been used to curse someone, but do we know the extent of it? Do we know that there's also good parts of it? Do we know that there's gods that don't always curse people? There's gods of fertility. There's gods of growth.
We're taught to hate our own culture.
Exactly. And like, you know what? We should do.
Mask in your house. It's gonna possess.
Right. We should do a podcast on that. I was gonna do one, and I wasn't angry enough. I was angry then. I'm not angry enough now. And I think because of what you just mentioned, we should do a podcast. So let's stick to Lovecraft Country, and I feel like instead of going through Lovecraft Country, we're doing so much about other things because the episode. It's just the way the episode is. So they've saved Dee, and they've come up with a plan to use what the ancestors have, and in order to do that, they want to bind Christina, Titus, and the last living Great White, which is Tick, together to So inside of the binding spell, when they're doing that binding spell, they bring Titus back. No, before they do the binding spell, they raise Titus from the dead, and I thought it was very interesting what happened there, and I kind of like that, him coming back from the dead and escaping, right, and escaping enough to warn Christina for like 10 seconds, and they bring him back, but they do what they do, right?
But it's real cool in that scene too. I have to give the writers. It was subtle and quick, but I loved it when Tick goes. He called his father Pop, like his dad was worried he'd go Pop, blah blah blah. I'm like, that was real subtle and cool. Like they showed like character development from
the last couple episodes up to then. Yeah, right. Yeah. So their rift or whatever they had, the beef with starting to, it's not going to heal super fast, but it's starting to heal. He also lied to his dad in that scene. Where he's like, "Oh no, I'm going to be fine. Everything's going to it's going to work. I'll be back. It's nothing's going to happen to me."
I had a problem with that scene.
Go ahead.
And I know who's in charge of the soundtrack for this show. Who is in charge?
I know what you're talking about, and I didn't want to talk about it.
No, I had to.
That song tripped me out. I'm like, why are you using it here? Why does it have to?
What's wrong with that song? First of all, the pacing for that scene, that song doesn't fit.
It didn't fit.
It didn't fit. Doesn't fit that period. Like that song was horribly chosen. Whoever's in charge for the soundtrack for this season,
fire them and bring them back.
Numbers that
fire them and bring somebody else back. Simple.
Fire them and bring somebody else back.
Because it made no sense.
and get them for this show.
Yeah, because you're right. It made no sense that while we're watching that scene in that particular moment, I'm expecting something else, and it took you out. It took me out, and I was like, "Yo, are they really serious with this?" Because they've done it before, and now they're doing it again. You would think after they move forward and the music has been different, they would change something, but they did it exactly that, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here with this." But I tried to move it really quick past that. Just because it took me out and I didn't really want to talk about it. But yeah.
It was like stabbing me. Like, oh, why? Why is this your music choice? And if this is your music choice, why is the pace so like the pace is like this and the music's like this?
It's just everywhere, right? Titus did warn Christina for a second, and that was kind of cool. I thought that scene was cool. Christina almost
weird though, because I thought there was like something between those two, right? I didn't think that Titus would have warned her. You know what I mean?
I think he did it because
she's white.
Or maybe he has magic and his magic was like, take me to my last living relative that is not a nigga. Mm-hmm. And he just happened to appear there, and that's why because he looked at her and he was like, fuck. It almost looked like, oh shit, like I got it had to be you. That's what it looked like. And it's like, those have the book.
Got the book.
And before he said they disappeared and they got what they needed from him. Mm-hmm. I did have a problem with the character in the show, and I do have a problem with the character, and I have a really bad problem with how they wrote her this episode, Ruby.
Yes.
Her because again, if they wrote Ruby so that Ruby would in turn turn around and become good again, get the fuck out of here with that.
Dude, come on. When the car crashed, when Titus had popped out, did you Ruby's eyes? Like she had that Mr. Candy look with Samuel Jackson's character, and she had that no master that look.
And that's exactly fine, and that's exactly what I thought Ruby was going to be all the way through, especially after they had the conversation they had at the mom's gravesite. Because I'm like, okay, keep Ruby true to this. Like you're selling her hard as this, right? Keep it there.
Because you could build that into a big bad for next season.
Exactly, because Ruby would have been perfect. Ruby would have been perfect to come back next season as like, oh, you killed my lover, and she does not have any love for Tick. If Ruby was mad because she took the spell from her, it would have been great to see Ruby come back and try to sell him and then give her back the invulnerability spell. If it was good that Ruby, it would have been great that Ruby did that, alienate her from her sister, push her aside. But I guess they wanted to bring Ruby back into the Negro fold, and it's like, oh, all Negroes will stand together no matter what. I just had a problem with Ruby's ending, and she just dies, and that's it.
Oh, dies off screen, dog.
Off screen death. No, did we see it?
No.
At the end when Jihad did her thing?
I now have to go back to that scene. I will not watch the whole episode again.
Okay, yeah, because I paid attention to that and I was like, oh my god, Deus Ex Machina. Like this is the what is that thing they call it? The jump. Did you watch the Miles Morales movie that USB? They called it the thing.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why the what?
The goober.
Yeah, the goober.
Yeah.
Jihad was the fucking goober. Because she was perfect. Like, oh, my vision and everything. This is perfect. Like, again, it take everything to the edge. But I'm like, there's nothing. I'm like, yo, there's no way she's gonna win. I would have loved to see Christina win.
Honestly, so
because you would set up a perfect. Huh?
What's the point of showing that she was immortal just to show? Oh no, we can actually kill her. What's the point? What's the point?
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you do for a season 2 now?
Honestly,
you know what? Let's get through it and come right, because that's a problem.
I don't like that the show chose to do.
Right. So we talked about the Great White Plan. They kind of executed that up to a point. Ruby, and it looked like Ruby had come back to join them, but it wasn't. But they brought back Jihad. He went to go talk to Jihad again. It's like, yo, so what did you see? Or what was the exact vision? Oh, I'm gonna be in a black hole. I don't understand the conversation between him and her at the end. I like that he apologized, though. I like that he apologized because, again, we sat there and we called him a dickhead for what he did. and he explained why he did it, which makes sense.
But
it's still a dickhead thing that he did. It's really dickish. Also, and he never addressed the lie. I know the one thing that you keep talking about him for. He never addressed that shady lie that he did. He never addressed that. But
give it to me. Line that she did for the book about like when she walked up in when they were like in that room or whatever. Like, so are you trying to show that this is a white woman with privilege that's like not asking for it, not doing nothing in return? It's like give it to me, like, and then you're removing the Market Kane. I was like,
yeah, that was kind of a lot, bro. Like she just walked, like the privilege of her, bro. So like that like, you know, but I think that you're right. They just did that to show white privilege again. But they've already done it before when
they've done it all season.
But when they killed her, I think the most egregious one was when they killed her and brought her back to life in that scene where she was trying to fake, you know, live through Emmett Till's death. I thought that was super egregious when they did that. Anyways, fast forward to the parts, right? They go on this journey. I don't know why they brought Dee there, but it makes sense now why they brought Dee there. Her mom and her, you know, they're cool now. And anyways, bro. But you know what? I think you said something a while ago that kind of had me thinking at the end, and we'll talk about it when I get there. The black vampire, or the other vampire monster, the one that saved Tick. It's black.
Yeah, it's black.
It's black.
Definitely black, not red.
Yeah. And you had said it could be, what's his name? Uncle.
Oh yeah.
It could have been. You had said that. You had mentioned that, I think, in one of our old casts, and you were like, it could be the uncle. And you know what? Watching it now, seeing at the very end, you might have a point.
His daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have a point to that. But yeah, so before we get there, so Jihad's back, and she's now she's with them to go to Ardham to execute this plan. And on the way to Ardham, what's her face comes in and is like, Ruby comes in and is like, here, I have this potion. Christina's nails and blood is in there.
Hang on, because there was something that happened right before that. Ruby had the potion, right? It was a pot called the Kettle Black scene at the cemetery where Ruby wanted to tell her sister, basically, you only want to come around and be family when it's something that benefits you. And I was like, okay, so you're not redeeming it, because at that point they weren't redeeming the character, right?
Exactly. So just go hard with it. Make her Samuel Jackson from Django. I don't care. Yeah. At this point, I don't care about Ruby being redeemed. I don't care about seeing Ruby. I want a bad black person.
Right. So when that happened, when that part happened, when that scene at the cemetery happened, when Ruby appeared at the house, I mean, at the car when it was about to leave, and she had the potion or the spell, whatever you want to call it, and handed to Letty, I was like, Ruby's double crossed them, and she did something.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, yo, this is not, this is a double cross. This is whatever, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, ain't no way.
Okay, either A, this is setting Ruby up to be the big bad of next season.
Yo, 100%. I was like, ain't no way Ruby, after what happened at the cemetery, is going to turn around and be your friend just like that again. You're not fooling me. That's how I felt. But apparently, they were fooling us because Ruby's good now.
Or was good now.
Oh, well, yeah, because she did. And she died off screen, and we didn't see her die. Anyways, the way we find... So they're now at Ardham, and they think they have this thing figured out. He eats Titus's liver. He drinks the potion. And, him and his dad have a talk. And it's like, okay, go. I'll see you on the other side of this.
He got baptized, too.
Yeah, he did. Hey, I'm sorry. That part just... I don't know how you felt about that. I was like... Because you did have a problem with it, I think 2 episodes ago when she went to church and prayed. You had a problem with that because they and then now she's getting baptized.
Because the show's made it a point that you're not really like, this show is not going to focus on religion, right? The show is focused on religion in the black community and stuff like that. So which was fine. And then you turn around and like, no, we're going to double down on this. We're going to kind of throw religion in this at the same time. Right.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't get it. I have a problem with this. I don't like this anymore. At that point, I was out of it. We get to Ardham and everything happens. and they find and Christina.
Wait, and she doesn't have the mark of Cain anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't have the mark of Cain anymore because the way it's Lovecraft Country.
Yeah.
Her not having it at the time doesn't matter because guess what? They're going to take you to the edge. They're going to bring it back. Nothing sticks. Nothing sticks. What'd you say?
I don't understand how she got it back. I'm sorry.
I think you may have missed that scene with Jihad because in that end with Jihad, a lot of things get revealed. And we'll get to that. So Ruby, fake Ruby, is revealed to be Christina, beats the sister up, throws her down, the tower.
In an easy death, and we're like, oops.
Right. And I'm like, oh, she's dead. No, she's not. It's
punches or kicks.
Yeah, it's Lovecraft Country. She's not dead. So Tick has now seen that his plan is gone to shit because Christina is there with the book. The people on the bridge lose the fight. They bring them. We see what's his face? Montrose is laid down. I'm thinking Montrose is dead, right? Nope, because nobody really dies on the show. So. Let's be honest.
I'm glad Montrose didn't die.
For real. I am glad Montrose didn't die. And so the ritual starts, and while she's doing the ritual, and you're seeing the soul transference. And you see Christina comes to the side and is like, oh my God, no. And, she's like, I love you. And Tick now knows that you can see his eyes like, okay, something is going to happen. Something is going to work. I thought he wasn't going to die, to be honest, but it didn't matter either way.
I didn't care he died.
Right. And so Letty stabs Christina. And at this point, I'm like, wait, did she finish the spell? Didn't she? What's going to happen? I was actually kind of curious there. I was like, okay, so this is the part where, maybe like all the stupid shit that we've had to watch. This is it. This is redemption, right? And she starts giving this spell and she is like, oh, it's never going to work, blah, 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 blah. And then Jihad, the goober, remembers her fucking vision. Oh, you're going to be in the abyss, in the darkness. And here she goes. Oh, I have to be in the stairs. And she runs to the stairs and her tails come out, links one to, and because you have to bind them by blood. She links to, what's his face, who's eating Titus's liver. And she links to Christina. And then in that, there's like a plethora of visions. Because I think one of the stories of the visions was you see multiple deaths. And she saw Ruby's death. And inside of seeing Ruby's death, she saw Ruby doing an incantation to give Letty back the mark of invulnerability. And so that's how she gets it back. So she gets it back and she's in there now. And, so inside of that, something blows up and Christina's laying under a rock. We're back in the bush, in the woods where they left the kid. In the car, in the strange ass woods, where you saw those vampire things. Listen,
and a ton of racist white people.
Oh, you're leaving a kid who has already had a very traumatic experience
with a demon, two demons,
to just handle herself.
And the police. Don't forget 2 demons.
Yes, yes.
Hanging thread. Please don't let me.
Impossible sundown territory. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Only the reason they did it because they wanted to show the black vampire thing was gonna come save her, and that's when we will know it's black because the other ones are pale and this one just happened to be tan and probably is not as affected by light because she shined her light on it and we didn't see it like curl up.
Right, and we also never saw the black vampire thing protect Chick, which it did against the police officers. Against Christina and the racist white people on the bridge or any.
But it came just in time. That is the key word for Lovecraft Country. Just in time, bro. Just in time. And so all of this happens. We're here now. And at the very end, something happens between Montrose and Tick where he goes like, yo, get up, boy, get up. We're going home. We did it. We won. And I was like, oh,
this is where Montrose sold that scene.
Oh, he sold the hell out of it because I was like,
Montrose was the only one who really sold it.
Right. Jihad didn't die, which I thought she was going to die. Now, my concern is if she does come back next season, is she human or is she back being a nine-tailed fox.
She's still going to be that nine-tailed fox.
Right, but technically, oh yeah, she didn't kill it. She didn't kill. She hasn't killed 100th human yet, or she hasn't had sex with the 100th human. But I thought her killing or aiding. Well, Christina didn't die, so I guess that works.
So does Christina still have her immortality? I know she took away the
no.
She doesn't have her immortality.
Oh, maybe she did because she wasn't dead. No, she doesn't. And the reason why we know she doesn't is this is the plan. This is the grand plan, right? The grand plan was to take magic away from every white person.
Right.
That's it? That's your reaction to it?
I mean, it was very mad. I
was like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool.
And again, so that's my problem.
This would have made it perfect if you left Ruby alive, or if you left her like still like in love with Christina. This would have been so perfect because she would come back and be the bad for next season.
On the education of magic.
Yes.
So the purpose of that scene where you're doing a whole disposition of this is this, and you can't tell me, oh, that was all done just so that way Letty could get the Martha Kane back. Because if that's what was done, you could have Easter egg that in like episodes ago.
Right. Because I still see if Ruby was going to be a backstabber, right, and have Tick die, she could still save her sister because that's her sister. And then next season is like, you knew, you brought Christina back to life. You did all of this. You knew what you were doing. Then why did you save me? That's conflict right there. Grade A conflict. What I also didn't like was them putting blood on the hands of this little girl.
Yeah, because you had a little girl kill a white woman.
Not necessarily. I didn't even care that she killed a white woman. I do care. But I just didn't care. I didn't like that you put blood on her hand. No, relax. I gotta rephrase a lot of things. I can't really say that. But I didn't like that you put blood on her hands. But they did it because you know what she said when she killed Christina was like, they still haven't learned. In essence, saying you don't leave a white person alive. 1 and 2, you don't leave your big bad alive because that's how you don't learn is leaving the big bad alive. And that's it. That's the show.
But really. Like. The vampire could have ate her head. Something about you.
She thought that was what was going to happen. Like the vampire was going to bite into her because if the vampire was Uncle, right?
Mm-hmm.
The vampire would have more beef for her.
Exactly, but we didn't get that. And we have a hanging thread with the police officer. So remember the police officer that has the black skin and
he's
all.
Dead. He's dead.
He's dead. Okay.
Yeah, because I think.
But we still understand his purpose. They never really gave us.
Because he was the one who shot William because he wanted to be next in line.
We didn't get anything.
There's so much. Like so now
that he knew and all that, and just like the other cop and nothing.
So apparently, two things. He's the leader of I think Chicago's whatever that the cult is, right? He's the leader in Chicago, and he killed William because. William is not even a great white, but because of William's relationship with Christina, it puts him in a position to be next in line. And so he killed William that way, because it's only supposed to be men. And Christina's beef, I don't even think Christina's beef, or the way they pictured it, Christina's beef is not with anybody. It's not with the black people. Right. It's with the cult and with the fact that This is what
patriarchal society. Okay, so
yes, so Christina's not even like a big bad. Like Christina's a big bad that I could understand. She just wanted black blood to do it.
Right. So here's how they did it. Right. If you look at it, and you look at it like how art imitating life. Look at it like you had the civil rights movement. Right. We got tracked. The media is following everything that's going on, Malcolm, all that good stuff, and at the same time. The women's rights movement started happening right on the tail end, and they needed muscle. But they weren't viewed as equal as white men, slightly above black people, but didn't have the attention that the black people were getting at the time. So they had to figure out how to muscle from the civil rights movement in order to get traction for the women's rights movement. And that's what Christina's story was.
Yes, and so just like it's okay. It's not like the best thing we could have seen, right? It's not like the greatest thing ever. It's not. It was just okay, bro. Like, so ultimately, how do you feel about Lovecraft Country now that it's over?
All right, I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I would like for you to be.
I was grading Lovecraft as a D/F, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was being very brutal with this show. Recently, Netflix released a show, um, The Haunting of Bly Manor, and
Right.
it made me really appreciate Lovecraft better. So I'm going to give Lovecraft a C, just because the curve was these two test scores, these two shows, and Bly Manor is that bad that I actually have to appreciate Lovecraft.
I'm not mad. I'm not necessarily mad at Lovecraft as I thought I would be. I'm just disappointed.
You know,
I
I
think that's
tried to give it a B. The more I'm thinking about it, it is better than a lot of other horror shows I've watched over the last 10 years.
so. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily mad. I know people who are just angry at it. I'm not necessarily angry. I'm very, very disappointed because it was supposed to be better. It was supposed to be good. You know, again, I've heard from people who've read the book who are upset at it, and I just know for a fact that there's so much about this show. There's so much potential, and there's so much. I am very disappointed. I'm unlike you. I'm gonna give it a D. I haven't seen Bly, so I don't know if I can counter it against that. I never liked the first Haunting show, and I know a lot of people love it. So again,
The first one was pretty good.
I think your disappointment is coming from that more so not, and you're attaching it to Lovecraft because you're currently watching Lovecraft. I think you should detach it and see how that goes. But no, I'm very disappointed with the show. I'm very disappointed with the creators. I'm very disappointed with the people behind the show. I'm disappointed with the people who made decisions on the music of the show. I'm disappointed with some of the writing of the show. I'm disappointed with how they put some of the characters. It just looked too good because again, there's money in the show and it looks good. It looked too good to go down like this.
Yeah. I feel like we have too many talented artists. By we, I mean people of color. We have way too many talented writers,
Uh-huh.
actors that could have. Well, the actors on the show was perfect as is, but the writers, which I'm going to point at, could have easily impacted this show and made this show something more.
Right.
And if you're reenacting something with a source material, and even if you're being choosy on what to use, what not to use, you already have a blueprint. And I mean, I'm a writer myself. Like it's
Okay.
not like it's really not hard to put something into action, like off of some source material. You know what I mean? I, it's no excuse. It's really no excuse for what we got. All these hanging threads. Uh, Sometimes it looked like they were pulling blood from rocks from certain scenes. They were cheating. They were definitely cheating the audience with all the sex scenes when they could actually take time to actually develop characters or really developing story. Like it's just frivolous. It's just a waste. Like tons of wasted time and opportunities done in the show. But still, I give it a B. C. A B minus, C plus. It's somewhere around that ballpark for me because it's still better than some seasons of American Horror Story for me. It's better than some shows. I'll definitely give it that. If this show was done in the early 2000s, like 2000 from 2000 to about 2008, this would have been groundbreaking television with the writing and everything else. With this, if this show was done on Netflix as a binge show or HBO Max as a binge series, like all the shows just came out at once, this show probably would have went over a lot better. But you did it as a week-to-week episodic show, and you tried to build it as the next best thing to watching, which won several Emmys and was a phenomenal show. Sorry, like you can't serve me this and tell me that it's a steak. That it's a real steak and it's from some chain restaurant. Like that's what it is. That's what happened.
You're a lot more lenient than I am. And I appreciate that, and I like that because it would have sucked if we were both on the same boat. I mean, because you were a lot more lenient on a lot of other episodes. You've given this show a lot more chances than I did, and that's good. And I think because you had, and why I'm mad is because I fed into your hope for the show, and that's why I'm so disappointed. Is because after the first 2 episodes, because we didn't start doing this until what, episode 5, right? 4 or 5.
I think so.
Yeah, so after the first 2 episodes, I was like, okay, you know what? I don't think I want to do. But Kyle was like, no, we have to do this, and it's I'm like, you know what? Let me have hope for it. So I've started, like, you talk about it, and I will feed into your hopes. I'm like, okay, if we get past the first 4 episodes, maybe if we get into episode 6, I might get to it. And I'm very disappointed because I've seen, watching the show, you're looking at the potential show itself, and it's just like every time it gets there, it's like. Then it just brings it's the almost there, because they take you there and you're like, oh my god, this might be great, and then it's like boom, because episode 5 is still the best episode of this show that the show had to deliver. Right. The 30 minutes of Aunt Hippolyta is still the best 30 minutes that the show has to offer. While I saw what Montrose was doing and I understood it, I didn't like it against the backdrop of Letty, being the new because she's the new matriarch of the family, and I didn't like it against that. So my disappointment of this show as a total, as what it should, as seeing as what it could have been and what it is where I'm gonna not be as lenient as you, and I'm gonna stick to my D, because we're gonna have a second season of the show. The biggest question is, what is your drawback? Why are you coming back? Because they blew a storyline up where you could have had, again, if you're going to not follow the book, because I'm guessing like they're not really following the book, and they told us they weren't following the book because
they had that wall break.
Yeah, because if you asking yourself, if you've read the book and you've asked yourself why, they told you they're not.
And they told you characters was what, like basically characters we played with and put here and there. Like they broke the fourth wall for those who went out and bought the book to really get into the show.
Right. So if they told you that they're not doing that, right, why not just blow it up totally and then bring, have Ruby as, this person? Because in most shows like this, there's that Uncle Tom-ish character who's just so sold on their new life that they don't want to lose it. And
they make good characters. Like, look at Samuel L. Jackson. Like,
Uncle Ruckus.
That was Samuel L. Jackson's best role. His best acting I've ever seen him do.
Right.
Was in Django.
Right. And you look at Uncle Ruckus from like what makes Black people love those characters, or what makes Black people quote those characters, is because there is that person in real life. Mm-hmm. Why not push it? Why not keep that? So I was really disappointed in Ruby's ending. I didn't like it at all. I did not like it.
Ruby was a great character. Like,
she deserved more. She deserved more than that. The actor was really good. Yeah.
And honestly, I believe, and not to cut you off, but I like having a plus size character like on TV, like
right.
And she didn't have to be light skinned.
She was beautiful.
Yeah,
she had command of the screen when she was on it. Like the first scene you saw Ruby when she was singing, it was like, oh my god, she's powerful. And against the backdrop of a skinny white woman, it was perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect. I don't know why I'll be back for season 2.
I can't. I'm sorry.
If we go to Comic-Con, we can't go to Comic-Con. If we're allowed to go and interview them for potential season 2, I'll probably be able to convince Kyle to come back to do season 2. But we'll see. But no, I want to again thank you guys for watching. That watched. Thank you guys for taking the time to hang with us through all these episodes. If you didn't like it, I understand. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. We're not here necessarily to have you love our show. We're here to talk about a show that we thought we were going to love. Ultimately, we're still, Earth 2 is still doing other things. We started Discovery. Discovery is season 3. We started talking about that. Hopefully you guys can come back to watch those reviews. That the first review, episode 1, is already up. The Boys, we have to redo a season finale episode because YouTube is a hater. So we'll be back. We'll be back for that at some point this week or later. Kipo season 3, we're gonna jump into that this weekend. So we'll see. We still have things that we're gonna do, and then Kyle and I will probably be back for another episode show that we will watch and we will want to talk about. We're definitely going to be back. So we did watch
Mysteries.
Yeah.
Too. So I don't know how you like the volume 1 of the Unsolved Mysteries, but
I might check it out. Just if we want to talk about it, let's talk about it. But yeah, we'll be back. Thank you very much for watching. All of these episodes are going on the podcast side of things, so you can catch them there. You can listen. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with us. Like it or not, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next time.